in Lowell Correctional Facility, it's legal prostitution. It's like a brothel. It's like a predator's playground.
We're prey. It's like a lion with a bunch of gazelles. I mean, it's a perfect breeding ground for sexual predators.
There's a lot of hatred in this prison, and it's not the inmates, it's the staff.
Behind the razor wire fences of the nation's largest women's prison, complaints of rampant sexual, physical, and mental abuse are frequently reported by inmates against the very corrections officers put in place to guard them.
My first time in prison at Lowell, it was pretty corrupt, it was pretty dirty. My second time, it took it to a whole nother level. Sex with officers, harassment with officers, officers pushing up on you, officers touching you. I got to a point to where I was so fed up of having to flirt with officers and play with officers and have sex with officers and do sexual favors for officers just so I could survive in prison. I started to tell.
Krystal Harper says that one of the officials that she reported to a prison investigator was the assistant warden, Marty Martinez.
I had put on a show for him in the dorm, and I did what he wanted me to do. And he told me that he was going to give me $150, and he didn't. So then when I started to tell what had happened, I told her about me playing with myself for him. I told her about the other girls that were involved with him. I told him about his long talks, how you can get anybody moved. If you were ugly and you needed to talk to the warden about something that was probably serious or something that you needed or whatever, you needed to go find a pretty girl to do it. Don't even come talk to him if you're ugly.
Harper was moved to Homestead Correctional to finish out her sentence. Assistant Warden Martinez, known to many of the female inmates as Marty and Daddy, was fired amid allegations of misconduct with inmates. When reached by phone and asked about the allegations, Martinez declined to comment. Former inmate Ginger Ullman said the frequent and illegal sexual relationships with officers at Lowell developed mainly as a form of exchange for contraband, like cigarettes, which can be worth over $400 a pack behind bars.
They do you favors, they bring you in things. They'll go home and they'll wire your family money. It's more bringing in things, perfume, lipstick, a pack of cigarettes, and they're laughing their ass off the whole time. Oh, this chick just gave me fellatio for a pack of cigarettes, cost me $3. And then we're in the dorm laughing at him. Oh, all I had to do was 2 minutes, he's disgusting, and then I got $400. But like I said, it's a lose-lose situation for anybody involved in that. And then once you want to stop, you can't. Until he's done with you, you don't stop.
Facing hundreds of serious complaints ranging from abuse, deaths, dorms filled with mold and vermin, and retaliation for reporting abuse, a new warden, Angela Gordon, was brought in to run the prison in March.
I started walking around and meeting the staff and looking at what they were doing and how they were doing it, and I found that just like every other place I've worked, there's a lot of good people here doing a lot of good things. Do we have bad apples? I'm sure we do. Every organization does, but the thing is, myself and my administration here in the department as a whole, we're stressing that that's not something that we're going to tolerate. If we find that a staff is doing something wrong, we're reporting it, we're letting it go through the process, and if it's determined that they are doing something, then we're utilizing the discipline process just as swiftly as we can to take care of that, up to and including termination in some cases.
If you want to believe that, go ahead. I don't live in fantasy land. I wouldn't say that there's only a few bad apples, because the majority of them. The new norm is constant threats. Do you want to eat dirt? You want to get sprayed? And you're an effing this and an effing that and an effing retard, and it goes on and on. And it's not getting any better.
It doesn't matter how many people you put in admin, you can rotate it, you can fire, you can put new. It's still going to be the same on this compound. You got to take this place and shake it upside down and start brand new, or bring the feds in. The feds are the only ones that are going to shake this place up and make it run right.
In 2006, the FDC hired an independent company to study prison operations and report on what needed fixing. The report that was issued focused on Lowell more than any other prison. It zeroed in on serious problems with staff offender sexual relations, unprofessional and demeaning interaction between staff and inmates, poor quality medical care, and an unusually high number of inmates on psychotropic medications. Recommendations were offered for making things right. Some inmates and staff say, and records suggest, the conditions may have worsened.
The staff at Lowell, there's at least 40% that are corrupt, that are not doing the right thing.
Baron Bergner transferred as a corrections officer from Madison Correctional to Lowell in 2009 and moved up the ranks to become a sergeant in 2012.
Some of the corruption goes on from sex, drugs, money. There was just all kinds of corruption at Lowell. In June, while I was out for surgery, I decided that it was time for myself to leave Lowell because I was tired of seeing all the corruption. I was tired of dealing with it, telling supervisors every day and day and night that there's dirty staff at Lowell and that they're not doing anything about it.
A frequent complaint by current and former inmates alike is the lack of proper medical care at the prison. Tanya Yelvington spent 16 years at Lowell for a DUI manslaughter charge, a sentence that she says nearly cost her her life due to inadequate medical treatment in prison.
It's just totally inhumane. If you don't have a family member to fight your battles for you, you will die in the Department of Corrections because there is no medical. They do the least as possible. They will go to the lengths of letting you die or misdiagnose you to save the state money. In 2008, I felt a lump in my right breast. I went to medical, and because of my family history of breast cancer, I automatically wanted to have the biopsy. I felt the lump there. I had the lump 14 months before I ever got a biopsy. 14 months, and it went from a pea size to a golf ball size. It went from a 1 centimeter to a 2.5 centimeter, and it left my breast and went to my lymph nodes. He says, depending on treatment, you'll have 3 to 5 years to live. I'm sorry for that, having to tell you that, Ms. Yelvington.
Yelvington had a double mastectomy while serving her time that left her horribly mutilated. She says that while recovering from the surgery, she contracted an infection that nearly killed her.
Third world countries get better medical than we get. There is no medical. There is none, and there never will be, because we're just a number to society.
At least half of my complaints are medical related. Anything from inadequate care to not getting their medication in a timely manner. For the most part, through our grievance process, everything that I see, very few of them are actually found to be legitimate. And in the issues that I've had the families come to me with, when I go back to my medical department, I look and they list for me everything that's been done. They're doing their jobs. It may not be exactly what the inmate thinks that they should be getting, but the inmates are receiving care for the most part.
Gordon believes the medical and abuse complaints don't give the full picture of Lowell, and that the rules and structure put in place are important for the inmates and staff alike.
They're here because they broke the rules in the free world. And if they continue to come into the prison system and be allowed to continue to break the rules, they haven't learned anything. So yes, we do have a discipline process. Yes, we enforce the rules. Is it a hellhole? Is it the worst thing in the world? No, ma'am. It is not in any way.
Just because you make a bad choice or a bad decision or whatever it is that puts you in prison, it doesn't mean that you're an animal. It doesn't mean that you can't be treated humane. It doesn't mean that you're a piece of meat. What needs to happen is that even if you go to prison, whatever your reason is, that you're going to be okay while you're in there and you have the chance to get out and be okay.
It's so corrupt and on such a large scale. I don't know if it's fixable. In all honesty, I don't know if there's a way to eliminate it.
I wish it would change for the staff and for the inmates, but honestly, I just don't see it in the near future. I think it's going to take a lot to change it.
Because it's a cesspool of inhumanity. And how they can lay their head down at night and sleep knowing that this is going on. I don't know how they do it. How do you do that? How? I don't understand.